I just love the intro music so much. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Welcome, beautiful souls. And welcome to episode 6 of our live stream podcast. I'm Don Antonio Corianti, and I'm here to guide you on a journey toward healing, resilience, and connection. Welcome, welcome. Today, we're exploring holistic tools that can make a profound difference in the lives of first responders and communities. And it's not limited just to first responders. I like to teach these things even to people who just work in the public to help each other. I've noticed that a lot of people in the medical field, nurses and nursing assistants and stuff, are also carrying a lot of stress. And that's really what this stuff is about, and why I teach what I teach is the primary way to emotional and mental freedom is controlling your stress response. This isn't something that's taught generally in like school or growing up or even in society. For the most part, we're kind of taught to be stressed out, like as if you'll be more successful if you're ahead of the game, per se. Which sometimes is true, but not most of the time. Most of the time, that incessant thinking, that space of being stressed, puts the body in a position where it can't heal itself and it can't digest food. And that's primarily, a thing we want to go past. So when I teach, about these things, stress management, specifically, I lean into breath work and mindset techniques. So this incorporates a lot of stuff. Breathing. There's lots of different ways to breathe. I teach many different ways to breathe. There's ways to breathe to bring energy into your body to get ready to do something. There's also ways to breathe to release energy so you can relax. One of the best ways to overcome incessant thinking and fear is actually to become embodied, to come into the body. And that's really hard for a lot of people. It was hard for me at first when I first started practicing these kinds of things because of the external stimulus. Pretty much everything that's happening is everywhere outside. So just taking a few moments every day, that's all it takes, just taking a few moments every day to bring the attention into the body. Just checking in, seeing how you actually feel. But through these practices today, what we'll talk about is how to foster group coherence. So also just getting a group of people together where everyone sits silently. It's like meditation, but you can call it anything. Sometimes I call them thought experiments or quiet time. There's different words one can use. Some people are turned off by certain words because of the definitions that their mind may have connected to them. Another way I put it is prayer, group prayer, very powerful. Anyone that knows anything about prayer, and I don't necessarily mean this in a religious way, but it's just the intention. Your intention sets off a cascade of events in the quantum field. When there's a group of us, when there's a couple more people or a big group, because we had a really nice big group last night and it was so powerful coming back into Light Club. But in that space where we were all bringing together our intention, you could feel the massive pull of energy and power. And those of us that were in the group and our spiritual communicators, there was a lot of spirit coming in. Okay, I want to welcome everybody who's watching. If you're just coming in, please comment. Your comments matter. I always want to hear from everybody. If you have any questions or anything before we get started, that's totally okay. I check in every so often as I go along. I'm using a semi kind of scripted, a loosely scripted topic here, so I have some notes and stuff over here, but it's very much open. I like to be more intuitive with opening information and energy. So just let us know where you're watching from. If you're from out of town, I'm up here in Northeast Ohio, Cleveland area. Nathaniel, hello, my brother, sending my love. Grateful to catch you today. I'm so glad you're here today. Angelica, sister, how are you? I feel like I haven't heard from you or seen you in ages, in many, many lifetimes. Welcome. Tachi, last night was so good. I agree, brother. It was something we totally needed. And I think it's something that I'm going to strive to do every other Sunday. Every other Sunday, I'm going to get a group together and we're going to do Light Club. where we just come together and, do some breathing, do some meditation, some prayer. I like it to be intuitive. This doesn't mean that in the future I may not use loose scripting. I'm learning more and more about just loose scripting. This brings a topic into what we're doing. And, that's important too. Those are important things. Otherwise, you know, people tend to want to know kind of what's going to happen. I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen, not even in today's episode. But if you have kind of a loose idea, like today, I know that we're going to be talking about essentially stress management for first responders and communities. But like I said, it's not only limited to first responders. It's also for people who are in care of others, because being in care of others has its own types of stress that are involved with that. I mean, you're picking up, most people who work in the care industries, not everyone, but most people who do, these are generally empathic people that want to help other people. And being in that empathic state can open you to absorb certain forms of energy. And what it'll do is it'll vibrate with the parts of you that are unhealed, and it can create, some suffering. But there's ways through that, around that, to use that. So, why this topic is so meaningful is because first responders dedicate their lives to protecting and serving others. And like I said, not just first responders, I'm talking about everyone that works to help in a public kind of sense, often enduring high stress situations that can leave them emotionally and physically drained. Okay? I know this firsthand because as a shamanic priest and a life coach, and I wear many hats and I talk to a lot of people, and I work with a lot of people all over the world. Sometimes you can become emotionally drained, and this can fall over into a physical feeling of drain. Luckily, I have a great set of tools that doesn't keep me in that state, because it's all about shifting state. Similarly, communities face their own collective challenges. So you have groups of people and communities. We have collective challenges, right? By integrating holistic tools like breath work, like mindset, like meditation, we can enhance well-being and create a more connected and resilient society. This can change society. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to bridge that. I want to create and be part of the creation of a new world where people work together in harmonized focus and energy, instead of always competing and, being angry and sad and hurt. It's okay that you have those emotions, okay? I'm not saying that those are bad. I'm not saying that they're things that shouldn't happen. I'm saying that you don't have to stay that way, and you can take all forms of energy and you can turn them into things that actually work for you. Angelica says, I'm busy working with my heavy energies. Okay, but it's good. A lot of hawk spirit around me for a long time now. Good, good. If you wish to have any guidance with moving heavy energy, I'm always here to help. If anybody doesn't have any questions or comments or concerns, I'm going to move into the first segment. Excuse me. The first segment that we're going to talk about is why first responders and communities need holistic tools, okay? And we'll discuss the challenges that first responders face, all right? From firefighters and police officers to paramedics to nurses to doctors to you name it. There's all kinds of different hats that people wear, but they're also like the front line of, public defense in a way, or public helping. Even therapists and shamans and Reiki healers and massage therapists, all of these people are working with other people. And when you work with other people, you're going to, just by default, get a little bit of mix of energy that's happening there. And that's okay. It's not really a bad thing. Third dimension teachings make this really scary kind of thing, and it isn't. First responders are exposed to intense stressors like trauma, other people's trauma, which ignites your own. We all have unhealed trauma or unresolved emotional data. Lots of these people work long hours, put in long hours, and may be involved in high stakes situations, often life or death situations. Over time, being in this parasympathetic or being in this sympathetic dominant or fight or flight mode state, there'll be a breakdown. And this can lead to PTSD, depression, anxiety, or physical health issues. All those things are things that pop up in stress. And this is for everyone. Every human being faces stress, and if you don't know how to manage that stress or how to, take control of your own inner self in those times of stress, that's what will happen. This will lead to symptoms. Lots of symptoms arise. Most symptoms arise from mindset. And then going into the next phase of that is where, we're talking about the group coherence in communities. For communities, particularly those dealing with conflict or loss, creating a sense of coherence, a shared feeling of unity and purpose can be a transformative force. So I've seen this firsthand. I've been fortunate enough to be called in to do public speakings and things for groups of people and communities that have had loss. I've had the opportunity to do, celebrations of life for people who have passed on. I've been fortunate enough to show up to be able to speak in front of groups of people where many of the people are suffering from different forms of trauma. You know, there's a lot that can happen when you bring in group coherence, when you bring in a common vibration and theme into these places. So what we'll do is we'll kind of transition into how the holistic practices like breathwork and mindset training can help, okay? These tools empower individuals and groups to navigate stress with grace, rebuild trust, and foster emotional resilience. Very, very powerful ancient human technologies. There's a reason why I teach breathing, and this is because this is a primary way in which to take control of the physiology. When you take control of the physiology, you begin to have neurological changes as well. The first step and the most important part is the calming effect, when you start to begin to calm yourself. Breathwork is one of the most ancient and effective tools for calming the nervous system, and by slowing and deepening the breath, we signal to the brain that we're safe, which helps reduce cortisol and stress levels. That's one way of explaining it. It reduces your stress hormones as soon as you start to calm yourself down by slowing and deepening the breath. Because when we're in that fight or flight mode, the breathing is high in the chest. We're ready to go. We're primed to go. The trick is to bring the breathing down into the belly. And sometimes just the belly. You don't even got to worry about your chest. I try to keep my chest from moving and just allow the lower lungs to do the expanding. So what we'll do is we'll do a little simple breath. We'll go through a couple of them. One of the primary breaths that I may teach someone, it's not my favorite. We'll do my favorite next. This is just one that's kind of got some clinical proof behind it, and also has been used by Navy SEALs and fighter pilots and things like that. This technique is used to stay calm under pressure. And you can do this sort of breathing. This is called box breathing. So it's a 4-part breath where basically, we'll do 4-second inhale, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and hold for 4 seconds and repeat. So what happens is you're having a breath every 16 seconds. And what this translates into is about 4 breaths per minute. So you're really slowing down the breath. That's the key. That's the trick of it for this type of breathing. And you only have to repeat this for 1 to 3 minutes. The good part is about this kind of breath, I'm going to do it, I like to do it like vigorously. You don't have to do it vigorously. You could do it quietly at your desk. I have people who are in offices and in settings where they can't really let their breathing go in a really hardcore kind of way. So it's just more reserved. No one knows you're doing it. You're just sitting there calm. So how I usually begin it is if I want to move into this type of breathing, I just let all my air out. And then I breathe in through my nose for 4. I hold for 4. Out for 4. Hold for 4. In, hold, out, hold, in, hold, out, hold, in, hold, out, in. Hold. I'm getting so calm, I lost my space. Now, you don't need to count like this, it starts that way. When you start to feel the flow of the breath, it just kind of happens naturally. Very good. Now, if you've been doing that breath here for a minute, you're going to notice right away. The first thing I'm noticing is a slight tingling in my body and in my hands. I'm very aware of my inner body. I can sense my inner body. There's a calmness that has moved into the center of me and into my spine. I feel looser, more calm. I was already pretty calm, but now I even feel more calm. And there's a lot of science behind this. I'm not going to go into all the science about it, but part of it is nitric oxide. You're having a higher concentration of nitric oxide in the blood, and this is a vasodilator. This dilates your blood vessels, slows down your heart rate, lowers your blood pressure, brings you into a state of calm. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to share with you my favorite type of calming breath, and this is called the physiological sigh. And this is something that's more kind of modern as far as it being tested. It's all forms of breathing are ancient forms of human technology. It's just this particular style of breathing has been studied very deeply by Dr. Andrew Huberman, who is a leading neuroscientist, I believe out of Stanford. And through the study, he found out that this is probably the most beneficial way to be able to slow yourself down and bring yourself into calmness. So essentially what this is we call this, another thing I call this before I learned about the science, I call it the double sniff. So it's a sniff, sniff, and a soft sigh. So that first sniff fills up your belly. The second one, your chest. Belly, chest. And you repeat this, belly, chest, sniff, sniff. Very calming. And you just repeat that breath until it feels good, till you're feeling calm and centered, and you might do more than one round. You might do a couple rounds, 30 breaths each round, or if you like time, go for time. Or I don't even look at those things. I don't count or go for time. I go for feel. Because to me, feeling is so much more important than some sort of box that we try to put things in. But that's just kind of how this society works. Everything needs to be like a recipe, when there can be a base recipe, but ultimately it's the feeling of you is what really matters. One of the things in the study where they talk about this breath is what it mimics essentially is if you ever seen like a child when they cry and they start to calm down, they go, or you might see your dog go, my dog does it all the time. He does the physiological sigh when he needs to calm down. And he relaxes. It's really a beautiful thing. The third one I'm going to talk to you about is heart-focused breathing or coherent breathing. So this is a way not just to bring in calmness, but also to bring in coherence into the body. It not only calms the mind, but it builds a connection between the heart and the brain. And what this does is this fosters emotional balance, this style of breathing. So what I do is I typically place one hand on my heart. I'll put my left hand typically on my heart, and I'll breathe in slowly for about 5 seconds or a 5 count. And I'll exhale for a 5 count. Often I'll do a little hum as I exhale. 5 in. 5 out. And what's important when you do this is to use that diaphragm to breathe into the belly, then up into the heart. You're bringing energy from the belly up into the heart, and as you exhale, everything kind of drains, and that vibration vibrates essentially your brainstem. So you're creating this vibrational and neurological coherence between your center of your body and your head. So there's lots of science to back that up about heart brain and gut heart and heart brain coherence. Very, very powerful tools that, present ideas of science are just kind of becoming aware of. And these are things like the medical industry kind of shies away from. Because what if you could control your state? That means you wouldn't need your shrink. That means you wouldn't need your medications for your mind and all kinds of things. Before I move on to the next segment, I'm going to check the comments and see if anybody has any questions. What do you all think about those 3 styles of breathing that I showed you? Have you used those before? Jessica Summers, hello, sister. Hello, fam. Happy to catch you today. I have been clearing a lot of the old trauma and healing with my daughter. Wonderful. We are allowing that which is meant for us in. I feel like this is the year everything is going to finally work with us instead of against us. It flows. Thank you for helping me along the way. I love you. I love you too. What I would say to you, sister, is it's always important to understand the universe never works against you. Only your thoughts work against you. Everything has to happen for you to get here. And if you can look at everything, if you can look at your past as a gift rather than a problem, what happens is you can extract the energy from it. Otherwise, it always is like a boat anchor. It's always this terrible thing that's happened, and you got to live with it. Instead of it's, oh, wow, that was really hard, but you know what? It taught me some beautiful things. That's just a channel that came through while I was reading your message. Great to hear from you, sister. I'm so glad you're here. Does anybody have questions before we move on to the next segment? The next segment is mindset techniques for resilience. Okay, and so for a moment, let's discuss the power of mindset. Your mindset shapes how you perceive and respond to stress, okay, which is very important. By cultivating a resilient mindset, you transform challenges into opportunities for growth. So this aligns perfectly with what I was just telling our sister Jessica, about your perception of how you see things, how you tend to look at things. If you cultivate a mindset that's resilient, that looks at things as, hey, these are just things that happen, and what they're doing is they're trying to guide me to where I need to go. That sort of mindset is a very powerful kind of mindset, and what it'll do is it keeps you from getting stuck, particularly in past events and thought loops connected to the past events. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll share some practical techniques that I like to use. One of my favorite things to use for the mind is reframing. So you can reframe some of the stress, just like I was saying. You can view stress as a sign that you care deeply about something. This reframe can help you channel stress into motivation. You can look at stressful events, if you can, or when you can, seeing how they're actually helping you, what they're giving you, because that's the thing, and that's what faith truly is. Faith is knowing that the universe is always working in your favor. And if you can train your mind and move into a mindset of that, then you never can really fail. It doesn't matter what happens because you're already okay with whatever happens. Do you see? So even just from a standpoint of logic, it doesn't make sense to think any other way, because thinking any other way will just disempower you. Make sense? One of my favorites, one of my favorite practical techniques for improving mindset is gratitude practice. I like to start and end my day with gratitude practice, and often during the day I'll do it too. Another thing I call this is awe practice. Moving yourself just into the space of awe for something that you notice. Maybe it's a bird or a tree, or maybe you see something that's just beautiful to you or really catches your imagination. And you're like, wow, it's amazing that that exists. Just taking a moment to be in awe of something, taking a moment to be in gratitude of just everything that's around you. That's super beautiful and super important, because what you're doing now is you're creating a form of energetic coherence in and around you. While you're in that state, you're moving yourself into a state of very deep coherence. It's really important when you do your gratitude practice to first focus on the things that you're most grateful for and then embody those, taking in the ideas and turning them into feeling. And as you turn those into feeling, then you want to become a radiator. So there's several steps to this, but the first step is just taking the time every day, maybe in your morning, and you think about 3 things you're grateful for. What are 3 things you're grateful for today? Can you name those? Can you rattle those off? Because what this does right away is this shifts your focus from wrong and what's wrong to what's right. You see, you're shifting the focus. And that's really what it's about, shifting the focus, because that depends on where your attention goes. And wherever your attention goes, this is also where your energy flows. Okay, whatever you're giving attention to, you're energizing it. That's why another saying we like to use is, whatever you resist persists. Whatever you fight, you feed. And these are things that we just totally misunderstand in our society. We think we have to fight. We think we have to resist, when most of the time that is not the case at all. The best thing we can do is accept and move along. That's really the greatest thing one can do. A third one of my favorites, practical techniques for, for stress optimization and mindset, shaping your mindset, is affirmation. Another way to say this is self-talk. How do you talk to yourself? What do you say to yourself? Do you say negative things to yourself? Do you talk to yourself in a negative sense? And if you don't know, that's the first step, is paying attention to, how do I talk to myself? How do I address the things I go through? Or if I think I'm making a mistake, how do I talk to myself? Or, it's really important. Self-talk. And then deeper is affirmation, is that you want to reprogram your mind to say more beautiful things, like saying, I'm happy. Imagine that. Imagine if you started saying that, you take in a deep breath, you release it, and you go, I'm happy, right? You're training yourself to set a default network, a default mode of, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm calm. I'm focused. I'm capable of handling any situation that comes my way. Do you see? These are beautiful ways to talk to yourself. They're beautiful ways to be able to connect into the deeper parts of your mind. So those are 3 really beautiful ways I like to use my mind and redesign my mindset, is reframing stress, is taking stressful situations, and instead of agreeing to the story in which my subconscious mind has placed on it, based on past experiences and trauma and stuff like that, instead look at it more for what it is, or what can I get from it. In our shamanic tradition, this is also in alignment with the path of the hummingbird, where the hummingbird is able to extract the nectar from every situation. Take that little tiny beak and go into that flower and extract the nectar. You can do that too. It just takes practice, okay? And it doesn't mean that you're going to ace it right away, and it doesn't mean that you'll ace it in a long time from now. The thing is that's why it's practice. It's something that needs to be practiced repeatedly. And what happens is you just get better and better at it, just like any other activity or thing you do. The more you do it, the better you get. There's results. Practice makes progress, right? The gratitude practice. The more you practice it, the easier it is. It becomes second nature. I can just be out. I don't have to time for my gratitude practice. I am used to putting myself in gratitude so I can find it. It's in front of me all the time. Oh, wow, look at that. Look at the beautiful stuff that's in front of me on my desk. Wow, amazing. Look at this cool rattle. I'm so grateful that I have this. It was a gift too. And then affirmation and self talk, super important, really important. How do you talk to yourself? What are you saying? What are you agreeing to in your mind? What's happening in there, right? This also requires you to spend that quiet time in your breathing. Nice quiet space in your breathing. Before I move into the next segment, I'm going to check the comments, see if anybody has any questions for today as we continue. Jessica Summers, I have come into the it is what it is mindset. Well, that's true. I am in full acceptance. I am not trying to control or force anything. I love it. Being grateful and thankful has me in such a better place. Just as we were talking, you're living it. I am also thankful for the stub toe moments. Yes. Thank you, God. I am now aware and will pay attention and be in the present moment. It's a beautiful way. It is a beautiful way. It is what it is. So that's a tricky mindset. I kind of stay away from it because, like, for most people, it's like it is what it is. It's basically not an acceptance; it's a rejection. Well, it's whatever. Like, it's not like, well, I fully accept my reality as it is. That's kind of more how I like to program, is very specific forms of language. I accept my reality as it is, or I accept each moment as if I've chosen it. Those kinds of ways, that still means that it is what it is, or I'm just an acceptance. I trust the universal design. Another way my mind says it is, I'm aware that the universal design is without flaw. God doesn't make mistakes. I make judgments based on past experiences. Wonderful. Miss Amy Collins Heiss, how are you today? Needed this reminder today. Good. That's why I'm here. I'm here to not just help me to have reminders, but here to also help you have reminders. Welcome, Lady Autumn Sky. I'm glad you're here and have caught up to the live. We're moving into segment 4. So this is like the 4th part of this live stream show of this podcast. And this is building coherence in group settings. Okay. So let's talk about what is group coherence. Group coherence is about creating a shared field of positive energy. Okay. Trust and alignment. It's like syncing everyone's internal rhythm into harmony. Okay, so this is something that isn't normally shown or taught in school or anything like that, but it's also like how teams are formed, how groups of people come together and can, employees that work for a company, it becomes a team and they work together to create something. Right? Well, this can start on an even deeper level, at an energetic level. And this is where people come together, kind of like we did last night with Light Club. And I'll be doing it again Sunday after next, where people come together and we're in that shared field of positive energy, trust, and alignment. So we're showing up there, we're setting intentions together to create a beautiful experience, to invite our highest power, our highest energy there, our greatest wishes for each other. That's all very powerful stuff, especially from a quantum energy or quantum field kind of standpoint. Also from a very much like a metaphysical or ceremony and ritual, or even a religious standpoint, because even from like the Christian religion, it's even talked about like in forms of prayer, where there's more people, there's more God, right? Where 2 or more gather in my name, there I shall be. And that's what that esoteric part of the teaching is about. It's about how we come together and how we begin to use our energy to become unified. So what I'll do is I'll show you all a little bit about how we begin to do that. And so what we'll do is we'll create an energetic resonance that deepens a connection. All right. So what I'm going to ask everyone to do, here's like a small exercise. This is a distance exercise. You also can do it in person. You get 5, 10, 20, 100 people together. We've done this many times. And what we do is we gather the participants, the people who want to do this, into a circle. Okay. And then in that circle, sometimes we'll hold hands in the circle. Other times we'll just be in each other's proximity. It all depends on the feel of what's going on, but it's in that circle. So I'm going to ask you to do is close your eyes and imagine that there's a group of people. There's me and some other people you don't really know, and we're just gathering in a circle. We're out in the middle of a field. It's grassy. It's a nice day. It's sunny. The air smells good. Okay. And then so together we begin to breathe synchronized, and we begin to breathe in for about 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. And then relax and release for 5 seconds through the mouth. And breathe in for 3 and out. And we're breathing synchronized. And we all breathe. And continue to breathe that way, and imagine everyone's lungs expanding and collapsing, and you can actually feel the energy of the circle expanding and contracting as if our circle is beginning to breathe. And an exercise this simple, believe it or not, actually can sync together our brains and our hearts. Two vibrational fields of energy that are generally disconnected from each other because we're incessantly thinking, and that incessant thinking, it closes the heart center. So opening this stuff up, you're stepping in together, you're stepping in with intention. I intend to bring loving energy into the circle. I breathe with the circle. Breathe along with me. Breathe along. I share my energy with you. Last one, big strong breath. Notice how light you feel. Notice how you feel. Okay? Most people, even if they're mildly sensitive, when we come together and we use that kind of intention to be together in a group and bring coherence into a group of people, it becomes very aware. Some people, not so much right away, but as you practice this kind of thing, it gets even stronger. Another beautiful thing to do is after we move into that coherent breathing, we start in the circle, and each participant shares one thing they're grateful about with the group. And so I'm going to encourage you, if you're watching this, even if you watch it later, just put it in the comments. What's one thing that you're grateful for today? Type that in there. Go ahead and just, what is it? What are you grateful for today? And what this does is this fosters a sense of unity and shared appreciation. Because when you're telling me what you're grateful for, my intention is to be grateful with you. Do you see? And that's what I tell everyone to do. As each person, they share their gratitude. I'm so grateful for my daughter, and whatever words come along with that, I intend to share in that gratitude. I also want to feel that joy, that happiness, that gratitude. And then what this does is this brings together our energy, and this brings in that sense of unity. So there's a lot of benefits to this kind of thing, into this coherence, because when people are coherent, their collective energy becomes a powerful force for healing and change. This is kind of why, our normal society has put us in positions to keep us pretty much separated. We're not doing things like this. This is a deeper form of intimacy that's beyond what we think intimacy is, like sex or something like that. True intimacy is without any forms of physical, attraction or anything like that. It's more a loving experience, a connected experience. That's what true intimacy is, being open with each other. Good. I'm grateful for the ability to forgive myself. Great, because it doesn't take any strength or ability because you're already forgiven. Isn't that amazing? The forgiveness. Forgiveness is simply, a lot of people confuse what forgiveness means. Forgiveness simply is a state of being. It's not something you actually give anyone or anything, it's something that you be. I actually had a conversation with someone recently, and they were saying some things that were pretty heavy, and I felt a little hurt by those things. So, what I said to them in the conversation was, I don't think it's right that you said this, and I forgive you. And what they said to me was, I didn't do anything to be forgiven for. The thing is that person doesn't get to decide that. The person in which you've trespassed upon or you've hurt is the one that gives that forgiveness. And what it is it's never for them. It's totally a selfish thing. It's not a selfless thing. It's for the self. That's where forgiveness really is. It lies within the ability to let go at the deepest level. I'm grateful I found you again. I'm so grateful you found me again, too. Welcome. So, I want to invite everyone to share their thoughts or ask questions. What resonated with you today? Did any of this really make sense? Is there a takeaway you have from this? Do you have any insights about stress relief or group coherence to share? All right. The key takeaways here for me are breathwork and mindset techniques are simple yet profound tools that empower individuals and groups to thrive, even under pressure. When we create coherence within ourselves, we naturally radiate it to those around us. So that's what it always comes down to, and that's what I always try to help people understand. What's the greatest way you can help change the world is by continuously changing you, improving you. Every day I strive to be a better version than I was yesterday. A better man, a better partner, a better priest, a better whatever hats I'm wearing, I would like to improve those. Just being a better person, a better human, being less reactive and more responsive to the life around me. So what my encouragement to you all is to try these techniques, or at least one of these techniques daily. And if you feel called, share them with someone in need. Feel free to open up into the comments. I would love to hear from you. I want to thank you all for being here today and for holding this space for this really important live stream conversation. Your presence, you being here, makes a difference. Whether you're watching now, you're watching later, it doesn't matter. Your collective energy is already here. We'll continue to explore new things as we continue along. And I want you to remember that you have the power to breathe through life's challenges and create harmony within and around you. Together, we all light the way. It's all about unity. No one is above or below the next. It's unity. It's the oneness that is within us. Breath work is so helpful, especially when done with directions and awareness. Absolutely. It's the most powerful, by far, tool a human has for self-regulation. There's nothing else. If you do not breathe, you die. How you breathe has everything to do with how you live. Do you see? Widely overlooked, completely misunderstood. It's just too easy for most people. But I guess that would be the greatest thing to do. If you want to hide something from the human, hide it inside them. They'll never find it there. Just like a thing I heard once is if you don't want humans to find God, hide it inside them, because they'll never look there. You know, we're always looking outside of us for the pill, for the book, for the teaching. And, you know, those things are out there and they might be a little helpful, but they're not the fire. They're just the spark. Angelita! I came in late, but I'm grateful that I came and given the opportunity to take part in this space. Thank you so much. This was a really good podcast where we talked about stress relief and coherence in groups. Stuff that these are things that I'm bringing forward that, you know, are talked about at like retreats and things like wellness retreats and spiritual retreats. These are things that are talked about almost as like a form of like secret society stuff. And this used to be like secret society stuff. This used to be esoteric teachings, that were kind of held because they didn't believe most people were ready for these things. I have a different awareness in this time. In this time, we're now into the golden age of Aquarius. And I'm fully aware that most human beings, but not all of them, are ready to learn these things, are ready to at least hear the concept of these things without just sloughing it off. Because for a lot of people, like stress management, it's like, I ain't got time for that. I'm not even stressed. Not knowing that they're so stressed, not knowing that they're always in a fight or flight mode. They're drinking caffeine and worrying all the time and sick and don't know why. Oh, I'm not stressed, or people that don't understand about community. And community comes through coherence, comes through connection, right? But these are things that are talked about. People pay thousands of dollars to go places to have someone tell them about these things. And here I am, I'm giving them away on YouTube for free. And all I ask for people is to share the channel and share with each other. And if you can, make a small donation. Visit my Facebook page. I need all the help I can get. I want to continue to spread this knowledge and spread the good news about what's possible for all of us. I really enjoy the breathing and the techniques of the art of breathing. Well, I'm glad, as do I. It's a very beautiful ancient human technology, and by all means, it is an art. I consider it almost like a martial art. Like people think martial arts are just about fighting, but that's not what their design is. Martial arts are actually spiritual technologies. They're ways of you, like yoga. Yoga is a spiritual technology. Qigong, it's a spiritual technology. It's a way for you to become involved and connected into the body. And that's one of the things I said early on is if you want to take more control over your life, if you want to not be run by external things, that comes through training yourself to go into the body, going inside, feeling from the inside. And one of the easiest ways is to slow your breathing down. Long exhales. Yes. Working in a group like this is so much more powerful for me. Me too. I've had some really powerful, intuitively led sessions, but even if I throw on one of your older breathwork videos, my sessions magnify. Wonderful. That's what I like to hear, and that's kind of what I'm here to do. I'm here to create that magnification or amplification of energy. As a shaman, that's one of our primary directives, is to organize energy wherever we go, or harmonize. It's harmonized energy. Looking, feeling, understanding the energy around you, and just through your intention, creating calmness. You're channeling. I channel a frequency into me, and what it does is it allows others around me to copy the frequency. This is also how healing works. When I do energy healing for someone, what I'm doing is I'm channeling energy and I'm becoming the vibration of exactly what this person needs to heal, right? And if that person is so willing and is able to connect with that vibration and allow that vibration into them, it's miraculous what can happen. This is also the same way that Jesus did healings. It's the same thing, or any other healer that's on the planet. That's how it works. It's a connection into the source program, the source light, or direct connection to God. And it's not that so much the person does the healing, the person becomes the healing. The healer becomes the healing, if that makes sense. You're helping that person be able to achieve a vibrational frequency that changes them, that brings healing into them. This is wonderful. I want to thank you all so much for being here today. I love to do these. Let me see, what's the next topic that we're going to hit? I'm not even sure. Where is it? Where are you? There you are. All right, so I have a little list going on here. And today was holistic tools, so it would be 7. Next one's going to be good. This next one's going to be living in alignment with universal intelligence, understanding cosmic consciousness, practical tips for aligning with the flow of life. All right, so this is something these are all topics I love to teach and talk about, but that's going to be episode 7, living in alignment with universal intelligence. And that'll be Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. I'm just going to leave the floor open for a couple more minutes. Anyone that wants to share or talk, or do you have a question? I'd love to hear about it. Also, I want to put it out there, if you know any first responders, or you work for a city and that's nearby mine, and you would like to have us come in and do some work with everyone, we'd love to do that. We love to lead sessions. We've also been with the Cuyahoga County Board of Health. We go there. We work at some different schools for, like, another type of first responder is like teachers for autistic children. We love to work with the teachers, help them learn how to control their emotions, because when you're around a bunch of autistic children, it can be taxing. And I have a lot of friends and people that help in that sort of way. Nurses, people that work in mental health type settings, all kinds of different backgrounds of people. There really is no limitation. And what I want to do is I want to continue to bring it out there and just get people hip to these simple ideas and understandings of how to manage stress. Because until the human being can manage the state and manage the stress, we're going to still be a very sick, physically ill kind of society. The floor is open. I'll wait just another minute or two. Okay, very good. I want to thank you all so much for being here today. Hi, Tina. Hi, everyone. Glad to see you on. Thank you. Angelita says, I find you trigger my ego, and I used to feel upset. And some things it still triggers, but it's something within myself that needs love and attention. Thank you for being you. Much love. My pleasure. And it's not that I have intentions to trigger anyone, because as you've pointed out, that it's not me. The trigger's not me. The thing is I tell when people stand in their light and they stand in open truth, the side effect is going to be it's going to trigger people who are not honest with themselves. And that's just part of life. I mean, there's lots of people that are having a hard time only because they're refusing to look at the truth of the role they're playing in their own suffering. But once that's kind of exposed to them, and that's happened a lot, people may get triggered. And what they'll do is later on, they'll come to me and be like, you know what? Thank you so much, because you told me exactly what I needed to hear. And it helped me get past what I need to get past. Some people never get to that level of awareness and continue to externalize and blame everyone outside them for how they feel, and they never become free. But I want to congratulate you on having that awareness to understand that the truth that comes through me causes you to be triggered, because no one can trigger you. You choose to respond through a trigger. And that's what's kind of happening. You're having a deep awareness. And I think that's wonderful. That's really beautiful. Yes, actually, and still learning. Well, we all are. Don't worry, there's nowhere we need to get to. That's one of the biggest shams ever, is thinking that you're going to get somewhere and everything's going to be smooth sailing and there'll be no challenges or anything to learn anymore. That is complete and total fucking nonsense. That's all I need to say. Anyone that tries to sell you that shit is a liar. That's what I'm going to tell you. You do, however, get better at navigating the challenges of life. That's really what it's about. It's really about learning how to become skillful in navigating life, okay? In navigating the challenges, which are, as you grow, you don't even call them that. I don't even like to call them that. It's just an easier way to communicate. Opportunities. The things I used to call challenges, I'm fully aware are opportunities, and they've been opportunities for me to grow. Let's just take, like, for instance, I had an aortic dissection and needed open heart surgery, like experimental open heart surgery, to save my life. Um, for most people, that would be like tragic and terrible, because I'm a very healthy person. I don't have any comorbidities or underlying issues. So it's very shocking to people when that happen. But I also understand it's part of a universal design and it needs to happen. And what I tell you is there's a gift. It's opened up parts of me that were closed off before. And as I recover and I continue through my rebirth, I'm able to look at those. I'm able to learn from what's happening without resistance. Okay, it's all about stepping out of resistance. Going back, we said that earlier in this podcast. Whatever you resist persists. As soon as I stopped resisting my life and my reality, it wasn't a fight anymore. I don't need to fight my life. I need to go with the flow of it. This doesn't mean you just get ran over by things. It means that you recognize what works for you and doesn't work for you, and you make changes, and you don't blame anyone outside of you for how you feel. Because ultimately, the truth is, and one of my favorite questions to myself is, who is in charge of how you feel? Well, I am. Nobody else. So true. I found that difficult to separate. I used to think, what do I do to people? Nothing. I realize it only happens when people aren't truthful with themselves. True. So it's all energy. When you live in your truth, this may radiate to others in a certain sort of way through your language, through how you hold yourself, through those kinds of things where they're not living in their truth. And so when that happens, the first thing usually is some sort of denial and a trigger is what happens. Oh my, I didn't know. Yeah, well, most people don't, I guess. That was November 2nd. I'm still recovering. I haven't been able to work in almost 3 months. So I've been living, luckily, off of the loving kindness of my global community, of the wonderful people who are part of this beautiful spiritual community, have been great at helping me along the way with their donations. And I put that out here too. Anybody that's watching or watches in the future, if you could make a small donation, even if it's a couple bucks, it goes a long way. You can access that information right on my Facebook page. There's a pinned post right at the top, and there are several pay options there if you would like to make a donation. That helps us out a lot, because it's probably going to be a couple more months before I can return to any sort of physical work. I have been doing coaching in private sessions, but not enough to pay the bills. So true. Thank you. I needed to hear that. Thank you. My pleasure. I'm glad that you stepped in here and, brought that forward. That's all beautiful medicine as it pours through you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, everybody, I'm going to jump out of here. I want to wish you all a beautiful, beautiful day and a beautiful week, and I look forward to seeing you Wednesday. It'll be a beautiful show for episode 7, and I'll see you all soon. Have a beautiful day, and I love you all so much. Thank you.